Hello, and welcome to WhatWorked Teachers, where we help schools find out what worked. How do we support teachers? WhatWorked Teachers is designed to help educators to set up, implement, and test interventions in your school. We include 3 short video tutorials to help you understand how to use the platform, the research evidence underpinning the intervention, and how to implement this in your school. You then can download an intervention protocol, which outlines how the research is completed, going through the research question, the design, the sample, the outcome measures, and the analysis. We then provide you with a resource folder, which is downloadable, so it has all the materials that you need to run the intervention. And then you have the trial wizard, which is an automated guide to support you in setting up the intervention. It also analyzes the input data, which is anonymized, and provides an impact report of the intervention for your school. What we then do at WhatWorked is we aggregate the data from each of the schools to help build a teacher-led evidence base. But what do we mean by robust evidence? Quite often when an intervention goes into a school, you will often have a class of students, and sometimes you might do a pre-assessment measure. The intervention is delivered, and then you have a post-test. So that's what we call a single group design. The problem that we have with single group designs is that there might be other plausible explanations for any increase that you have, because it's a single group design. So just for example, the students might be familiar with the pre-assessment and post-assessment questions. So just the familiarity with the test might cause them to increase in attainment. They might have additional support that's been provided other than the intervention, and this could all be plausible explanations. So what we do at WhatWorked is we set the evaluations up so that we have a control, and this is either at individual level or at class level. The control will complete the pre-assessment too, but they don't receive the intervention, they continue as normal and then complete the post-assessment. So just for example, by having that control, any familiarity with the assessment is equaled out between the two groups. So it allows us to have more confidence in the impact of the intervention. So on the WhatWorked Teachers, we have 2 types of randomization that we do. And this is pupil randomization and class level randomization. So pupil randomization. This is when students are technically pulled out of the classroom. Randomization is at pupil level just means that half the group of students that you select will follow the usual approach, while the other half will try something new. So in this way, the intervention exerts like a pulling force on the students, so they're pulled out of the classroom to receive a targeted intervention. The next form of randomization is class randomization, and the best way to think about this is pushing into the classroom. So randomization is at class level, which means that one class will follow the usual approach, whilst another class will try something new. In this way, an intervention exerts a pushing effect. So the intervention is pushed into one classroom and will be experienced by every pupil in that class, and the pupils in the other class cannot try that new approach until the trial is completed. So one question that we get asked at WhatWorked is it ethical to withhold an intervention from a control group pupils? All our trials have a waitlist design, so the pupils in the control group will have access to the intervention after the post-assessment has been completed. And generally, most of the trials are short, so this only takes half a term, usually between 4 to 6 weeks to actually complete the trial that we're running. Typical practice. Pupils undertake teaching and learning strategies and activities that are similar to usual practice in participating schools. And finally, it's anonymized data. So all the pupil data is anonymized by the schools prior to sharing on the WhatWorked platform. So head teacher consent is sufficient for running these trials within your school. And one thing that we do like just to stress is if you don't know an intervention will work, then is it ethical to actually implement the intervention without knowing? So what we're doing with WhatWorked is to allow teachers to actually test something before they roll it out wider school to more pupils to make sure it has the positive impact that you would expect. And data integrity. Our mission is to create at WhatWorked a teacher-led evidence base that professionals can use to help inform the decisions that they make about teaching and learning in their school. So therefore, the evidence is only as good as the data that goes into our system. So please ensure that you follow the random assignment and that the data you enter is valid. As fellow teachers replicate each evaluation, we will aggregate the data together to create a cumulative evidence base for the teaching profession. Together, we can build something special in education and help improve the learning based on evidence-informed decisions. So next steps move on to the intervention overview.